What's up, everyone? This is a stimulus update and daily news report. Congress is considering sending out new $3,000 checks before the end of the year. There is a new Biden proposal for a vaccine mandate to end, and McCarthy says there will be no defense bill unless this vaccine mandate, and there are $4,000 check deadlines today for the applications. I will give you the details of that. McCarthy vows military vaccine mandate will end or the national defense bill won't move forward. McCarthy says the first victory of having a Republican majority is ending military vaccine mandates. So what he's saying here is we are working through the National Defense Authorization Act, also known as the NDAA, the defense bill. We will secure lifting that vaccine mandates on our military because what we are finding is they are kicking our men and women that have been serving. That's the first victory of having a Republican majority. And we would like to have more of those victories. Also, to the Joint Economic Committee report, the expanded child tax credit drove the largest ever drop in child property. So Congress tried to pass those $3,000 checks. Basically, as part of the American Rescue Plan, the CTC, also known as the Child Tax Credit, dramatically increased from $2,000 per child up to $3,600 per child for kids under 6, and then $3,000 for kids aged 6 to 17. That lasted 1 year, and now it's back down to $2,000. So they are trying to pass back those $3,600 checks. It looks like they have some meetings this week, but I don't see how they're going to do that with a new Congress coming on January the 3rd with Republicans in the House. I will keep you updated on that. Let's move on to the stimulus update deadline to receive direct payments worth up to $4,000 in Jacksonville, Florida. This is available through the city's emergency rental assistance program, paying for utilities as well as rent. And when it comes to what else is being done in Congress, we are hearing from Bernie Sanders about the latest update on what just happened and what will happen in the future. He said, "I know that many of you who have been following what's going on with regard to the crisis in the rail industry. Let me just mention that on Thursday, we had both a victory and a loss in the Florida Senate. The victory was that we had every single Democrat except Joe Manchin vote to make sure that workers in the rail industry got 7 days of paid sick leave. We also had, surprisingly enough, 6 Republicans coming on board that legislation. So we had a majority of members of the United States Senate. But given the observed rules of the Senate, you need 60 votes, and we did not have 60 votes, so we lost. I should also add that our colleagues in the House did a great job, led by the progressives, in making sure that legislation, that amendment passed the House. So I just want to say the railroad workers out there, this is an issue we are not going to give up on. I'm a senior member of the Health, Education and Labor Committee, and we are going to do everything that we can to end the absurdity of workers in that industry having 0 paid sick days. And when we talk about the corporate greed that is sweeping this country, which disgusts somebody in markets, I think that it's fair to say that the railroad industry in many ways is the poster child. For that type of greed, you have an industry that in the first 3 quarters of this year maybe $21 billion in profit. So much money, we were able to provide $25 billion in stock buybacks and dividends to wealthy shareholders. And on top of that, the CEOs of the different railroads could make, in some cases, $20 million a year. The business situation for the railroads has never ever been better. They are rolling in money. And yet, if you are a railroad worker today and you come down with COVID, if your wife is having a baby and you try to have some time work, you get penalized for that, you can get fired for getting sick in the railroads. And that is literally unbelievable in the year 2022. As Congress winds down now, this session is clear to many of us that we have an enormous amount of work in front of us. It's not only dealing with the crisis facing rail workers, it's the absurdity that we remain the only major country on earth not to guarantee paid family and medical leave, something we've got to deal with. We are dealing with the reality that in America today, tens of millions of our people are hurting. 60% of the American people are living paycheck to paycheck. You've got older workers out there working their entire lives and they got nothing in the bank, scared to death about their retirement, which is why we got to strengthen Social Security, Medicare, and obviously eventually move to Medicare for all because healthcare is a human right, not a privilege. We got to deal with childhood poverty in this country. We got to restore that $350 a month. Child tax credit got to do with the dysfunctional childcare system that currently exists, and we got to deal with housing, but we got some 600,000 Americans who are homeless and 18 million households who are spending 50% or more than limited incomes on housing obviously goes without saying. You got to deal with the essential threat of climate change or we're not going to have much of a planet left to worry about. So there is an enormous amount of work to be done, and in my view, the real change, the impetus for change is not going to come from Washington. It's going to come from the income of the grassroots of this country when people stand up and fight back. That's when Washington pays attention and has the courage to go beyond their wealthy campaign contributors and lobbyists and the big money interests who have so much power in Washington. Alright, it seems like we're gonna see some big changes coming in 2023, and that is all the news that I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support, and I will see you in the next video.